State team coming in here on Thursday night.
Yeah, it doesn't take much research to look at, who they've played, where they've played, and how they've played. I told our team they've been to Ole Miss, they've been to Texas, they've been to Miami, coming to Bud Walton Arena. Sometimes it's worth a few points before the game starts, but that's not going to be the case Thursday night. They've been in some good environments already. I think they're the best 1-3 team in the country. Picked to win their league again, last year's NCAA tournament team. So kids had watched film before I'd ever even assigned film, and they knew it. So our practices have been really good as a result of that. They know we've got a quality team coming in, and one that presents us some challenges, and our practices have been good leading up.
All right, we'll go ahead and get going. Just remember, question and a follow-up, and then we'll come back around. So Paul, go ahead.
Do they remind you of anybody else that you've seen? Is there any similarity to any team you've already seen?
Yeah, we can make an all-star team out of them. Like a player from this team and a player from that team, put them in there. They've got a Curry-like guard. They've got Amisha Williams. Amisha, her married name or Holiday is, she was at Mississippi State. Deja Woodard was recruited by everybody in the country. Crump played a really big role on a good Houston team. So, yeah, you can make a kind of an all-star team out of some of the people we've played. I don't know that there's one team in particular that does it exactly like they do, but, Sam Houston-ish guards with a kid like Trinity Jackson from Arkansas State maybe and around the basket in Williams, Holiday. But again, and then a veteran team like in Central Florida. This is a team that went to the tournament. This is a team that knows how to win. They won their conference tournament last year and their league, and a bunch of them coming back. So big time guard in Rogan, that's preseason player of the year. And there's games that she's not even been their best guard. So yes, Paul, to answer your question, people we've seen, but maybe not one full team, but kind of an all-star team of the people we've played against.
And the other thing I was going to follow with, I probably should have done this one first. Can you give us an update on a few that maybe, had some injury issues on Sunday?
Yeah, we will have, we'll have a different starting lineup than we've had yet. I'll just give it to you that way. I don't want to give Jackson State any more advantage than they need, but yeah, we're going to have some carryover from that really physical Cal game. And we'll have a new starting lineup as a result. And probably a couple of new faces that hadn't contributed a lot in minutes wise. We're going to be needing them. So we got hit pretty hard in that Cal game, but there'll be a different starting lineup for sure.
All right, we'll go to Christina next. Coach, I don't know if you've officially been introduced to Christina, but she's new on the beat for us.
Okay, Southwest Times record. I'm from Greenwood, Christina. So I grew up waiting for the Times record to hit the driveway. So welcome.
Nice, that's awesome. Thank you. I just had one quick question about how you would evaluate some of your freshman bench players, especially Ashlyn and Emery and Alana so far.
Yeah, Alana, I kind of count as a super freshman because she was here last year. She's done a great job. She's really won that spot coming off the bench, giving us a rest for Amber in some moments. I think you'll continue to see her minutes be impactful. I don't ever know game to game how many they will be, but all of her minutes will start to become more impactful the more game comfortable she's getting. It's been a couple of years since she's played, and it takes a while to get used to feeling that heartbeat in your throat, in your ears, and in your head when you go to shoot a free throw. So she's getting more and more comfortable, and I think gaining more confidence. We've certainly had confidence in her, but I think she's starting to gain that in herself and with her teammates. So she's doing great. Emery, has been phenomenal. And she is one of the players that we will be without on the game tomorrow. So it'll be a shame that how well she has played, but that ankle's a little bit more substantial than that will keep her out of the lineup tomorrow. But she's been really good. I can guarantee you if there was a shooting contest tomorrow, Ashlyn Sage would be the first one picked above some really veteran good shooters. She's learning her way through it. And been really, really pleased with how she's been. Obviously, Sam, earning the starting role has been really good as a freshman as well. And Riley Langerman's still considered a freshman too due to COVID. So we've been good. Jersey played 5 different spots. I'm not sure there's another freshman in the country that's played the point guard and the 5 and every spot in between. She continues to get more and more comfortable. And Miriam's a day closer every day that we talk. to being, at that point where we're going to have to make a decision whether she plays or redshirts.
Thank you.
Yep.
Porter, will go to you.
Coach, you're talking about the team and their preparation. So what does that show about the maturity of this team, that they would take a team like Jackson State as serious and already preparing when they see them on the schedule, opposed to it being an SEC team?
Yeah, that talks to their understanding of the game and what's going on across the country. They're not just watching SEC games. They look up and see a really good Virginia Tech team losing at Liberty. Last night they're all the way through. We talk about it a lot. I vote in the top 25, and I think last week 18 of the top 25 teams lost. That's happening this year, and it's the margin of a win and a loss. They've really, because of that Central Florida game, I think specifically, and the UConn game that we learned from, the value of every single possession, no matter who you're playing. Everybody we play has got a Division I scholarship for a reason, and they know that, and they know that. Regardless of league, regardless of past performance, there's not a team on our schedule. There may be some teams in the country, but there's not a team on our schedule that we're good enough to look past. And I think that shows that maturity that you speak to. But I also think it shows awareness for where our game's at. Due to the ability for Coach Reed to attract the roster that she has. This is an SEC, Raw. There's 5 players on this roster that every school in the SEC at least sent letters to. Not sure if they'll admit it or not, but they did. I can guarantee you they did. So they're aware and they recognize, and I think as a result, our preparation, we can do it ahead of the game. You don't have to wait till the game's over to learn from a loss. You can be ready for it going in.
My follow-up would be, we're talking about Michaela. The year before we seen that, she come out and could put 30 up, and last year she kind of dipped on her score, but now this year she's shown now that she can put up 30 points again. And so what has been her big deal of getting back in the groove where she's taking that role as being a scorer this year?
It's assertiveness. I don't know that her game's changed a whole lot, but I think it's assertiveness and understanding that there's times that because of the way defenses are playing Amber and the way defenses are playing different people, that it's going to fall to her. And when that shot comes her way, she used to want to keep everybody happy, and now what she's learned is they get mad at her if she doesn't shoot it. It's not a badge of honor to pass up an open shot. It is selfish to not shoot it. And that's kind of counterintuitive to the way some kids get raised. But if we drive it in there and Riley drives it in there and creates an open shot for Mac and she doesn't take it, that's being selfish to our team. And I think she's understood that, and she knows that her teammates count on her. And as a result, there's going to be nights like that. I still think there'll be nights where you might see her have to be the distributor because she recognizes what the defense gives us. But she's certainly capable and did it against a good Cal team. But I still think she is the player that we all knew she was when we recruited her. She's just going to do what it takes to be the best for our team. She said that in a conversation with somebody, and it got out on social media. She's just trying to be the best for us, not the best for what anybody else thinks. And to me, that is something all players should strive to do for their teams.
Thanks, Coach. Loving the tree, by the way.
Oh yeah. I got a few. Christy gets credit for decorating it this year, but I collect all those old Sports Hallmark figures. So festive.
We'll go to you.
Hey, Mike, you look at Jackson State's schedule, and it honestly kind of looks pretty similar to yours last year, just a big Power 5 opponent every single night. What confidence does that instill in a team, even when you're not winning all those games? And do you think that they might come in tomorrow with that same confidence that you guys might have had last year from some of those games?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. Tamika's done a great job of telling the story that's what they have to do. To not be a 16 seed. They're trying to be a 15 or a 14 or a 13. And to do that, you got to go play these games. And their net's really high as a result. I looked at the net yesterday. I didn't see what it changed to today, but for a team that's 1-3, there's not anybody that I saw that had a better net ranking because of not only who they played, but where they played them going on the road. She understands that. She knows that, 3 days in March long time down the road for them is going to be what determines their NCAA fate. But to be prepared for that, you've got to go into these environments so that when you get in league and you get in those situations, they can draw back on these moments. And there's no question they will be a very, very confident group. And they should be. They have got enough film to prove against, I think Texas is, I don't know what they're ranked right now, but they're underranked. They're one of the best teams in the country, and they had them into the fourth quarter. And I talked extensively to Vic about their scout. I called everybody I could call to get any sliver of information we could that would help us, because I know I've been trying to convince everybody that does not know that I think this will be the best team our team has seen here at home. Our fans have seen at home. But I'm leaving UConn out of that because not everybody got to go to that game. But other than that, this may be the best team we've played.
And then you mentioned Miriam earlier. I feel like we haven't talked about her in a while. Just how is her rehab progressing? And are you guys nearing a decision on the red shirt?
Yeah, really good. Yeah, it's she's practiced with us now for about 3 weeks without limitation. I think there's some discomfort still. There always is when you're coming back from rehab like she's having. But you know, every day that passes on the calendar is another game or two of experience that goes into that decision as to whether you use that red shirt year and practice and do all that, or do you come and use this opportunity right now with a few injuries to play? And that's going to be completely up to her and her family. But by the way she's played, I would tell you that she's making progress every single day.
Brett, we'll go to you.
Yeah, Mike, a follow-up to Jacob's question and then one of my own. Do you have any idea why they play like a football team every 7 or 8 days and nothing more? But it doesn't look like there's been a shutdown, but it's like every 7 days they've had a game.
Yeah, I can tell you nobody wanted to play them. That's exactly what happened. They can't get enough high majors to play them, and there's not a mid-major that's willing to do it, and there's certainly not any low majors that are going to take the chance. I think she's in an incredibly tough situation. She's got a really good team that you just can't find enough opponents. Other than that, I don't know. But it does look like that. You know, they've only played 4 games. And then I think after this week, they wait another time and then they play. They're a few games short too of their full schedule. And to me, with the team she has, what I'm guessing, and y'all have to talk to her about it, but I know how intelligent she is. She's probably thinking it was better to not play a bad team and hurt the net from playing against the good teams that she does have on her schedule. And I think that's a really wise decision if that's what it is. If she couldn't find an opponent, if you look around, I scroll down the scoreboard every night. There's about 10 teams. I can't even tell you where they are. There's some teams, there's high major teams playing NAIAs. And I think she's decided, and I think she's right. And rather than fill her schedule, practice, stay in that practice gym, be healthy, be happy when you play, and play good opponents. I think that'll pay dividends for them when it comes NCAA seeding time. I think it's really smart. If that's what it is, you'd have to ask her, but that'd be my guess. I know she's having a hard time getting games because they were calling us.
Well, that makes sense. And I normally I would ask her, but sometimes in the SWAC, you don't get quite.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she'll be here tonight. You'll see her tomorrow before the game. If you see her, she's great. She's very, 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 very good at what she does, and has done a great job there for sure.
All right, Mike. So on the bizarre bingo card, you started a game by shooting free throws on a technical foul because of a shot clock. You shot technical fouls because of 6 players on the floor, which you could watch another decade and not see. You've shot technical free throws because their assistant coach was closer to the basket than some of their defenders. What have I missed, and what's next? Yeah.
Man, I don't even know, Brett. Maybe a delay of game or something coming out of the locker room. Maybe they're late coming out. That'd be the thing I haven't seen probably that could possibly happen. But yeah, we played a game without a shot clock too. Put that one on your bingo card. I'm not sure many people have played a complete game without a shot clock. So, I think the fact that you get in situations like that, just be ready for anything. But maybe somebody didn't put somebody in the scorebook too. That's another one that we haven't had yet, but one that any of us that have ever been a part, that's ever been one of our job responsibilities. Boy, you sweat that. Like you just hope you get that right every time.
CJ, we'll go to you.
Hey, Coach, how special is it to see Alana Eden bounce back from the injury she had last year and playing good in the amount of minutes that she's been getting this year?
That does your heart good because she's been our vocal energy person, ever since she's been back on the floor. And you always want that player on your team to have some success. So I'm really excited for her and her family and the people that love her, that she's worked, and she continues to work. She's not a kid that's ever going to settle for what's right on the table. She's always going to want a little bit more, and that's what I love about her. She's accepted her role, and now she's out to expand that role. So seeing her do it, ever since, go back to the day she put that video out of why she came to Arkansas, and she's got a special place, I know, in all of our hearts because of not only things that she does, but the way she carries herself, the way she goes about her business, the way she handles herself, and represents, her high school and her family so well. We still haven't seen her at her best, just so y'all know. She does in practice things that haven't carried over yet, but they will. And that's why we keep giving her opportunities to do that, because I'm telling you, once she gets a few of those to go in a row, then it can come in bunches. Then she becomes a really good defender and a great passer as well. So happy for her, proud of and for her for sure.
And what are some things that you want to clean up from the Cal game going into the JSU game?
Well, if we foul like we did in that game, we're going to run out of bodies. If we let that game get that physical and we send them to the foul line, if we send Jackson State to the foul line, we won't be good enough to overcome that win and win that game. They really stress your defense out. We've got to stop. We got to eliminate a few fouls. About 2 or 3 times a game, we'll pick up a foul 80 or 90 feet from the goal. And it's a frustration or a over eagerness, but we've got to get those fixed, because that foul, although it seems really benign at the time, that goes on that team total. And then when you get a charge and you do have to foul a couple of times to save a basket, now these teams are shooting in the bonus. And we've got to clean up our free throw rate. We normally, over the last 8 years, our teams have normally shot more free throws than our opponents attempt. And right now, that's not the case. We've got to get to that point to where we can defend without fouling.
Russell, we'll go to you.
With Emory out, what does that look like for your rotation with your bigs and what you want to do with them?
Oberg's been practicing great, so she'll get her shot. And then you'll see Jersey, probably playing a few more minutes at that position as well. But that's, and then you can always throw Riley Langerman anywhere. That kid's just got toughness written all over her. She can guard anybody. She can play any spot on our roster, in our offense. So definitely you'll see Destiny in a much more impactful early role. And then I think you'll see Jersey play extended minutes at that particular spot. We'll, not look at her as much, on the perimeter, and have to look at her being able to defend that player at the very least. She may still play offense on the perimeter, but she's going to have to defend around the basket. And you may see some zone. We've been working on our zone a little bit here and there all the way through the preseason. We hadn't really played it much in the game, but that could be something to, have your antennas up for too, if we pop into a little bit of a zone defense.
All right, with that, we will go ahead and switch gears. Coach, you want to talk a little bit about Little Rock coming in here on Sunday?
Yeah, watch them way more than I normally do teams prior to when we play, because of their opponents. They played so many SEC teams and got a couple of victories over those guys. So I've seen them a bunch on film. I think it's, the best team that Coach Foley has brought out there since we've been back here. They've got a big time scorer. They've got a great point guard. Their defense is always going to scheme you and then guard the heck out of you too. So I think they've got the pieces that, much like Jackson State, can give us problems. And when they've got a kid that can score like Kamara, she's dangerous, because she's a matchup problem for a lot of people.
Paul, go ahead.
I was going to follow up one thing with, you mentioned the starting lineup. So obviously that leads to this question. Does that mean Sasha Goforth is out or questionable? What's her status for tomorrow?
Be game time. It'll be game time. We'll see how she does today. If she's available, she'll start. If they can play, you play them. If they can't play, then you don't play them. I'm not one of those guys that says, we can play him for 8 minutes or 7 minutes or 11. If they can play, they can either play or they can't play. But Sasha's tough. She's wanting to play. I can tell you that. So I wouldn't put anything past her.
I was also going to, obviously with the Joe Foley team, they don't really back up from any challenge either.
No.
What does that bring to you?
Well, that they, like I said, they played more SEC teams than we will have in the month of January, I think, by themselves. So that's what he does. That's how he's built that thing. It's how they get to the NCAA tournament. That's a blueprint that's worked for a number of years. Play the best possible people you can in preparation. They're an impossible scout because, of his motion offense, it's unpredictable. You have to look at tendencies and you have to do a lot of guessing. So it's a very stressful scout. And they're going to do exactly what he wants done. That's the thing about a Coach Foley team. There is not anybody out there doing something that hasn't been worked on in practice, or otherwise he won't have them out there. They're going to do exactly what they've prepared to do and how they've prepared to beat us. So we always know they're going to come in, schemed up and amped up. I think this is the first time we've played here. Is that accurate? We've played them in Little Rock and we've played them neutral, but I know it'll be. I know you had all that on top of it. Like I say, again, you'd have to ask him, but my perspective is of the teams that I've watched since I've been back, this has been the best team that they've brought to our matchup.
Thanks, Mike.
You got it.
Porter, go ahead.
Coach, with how close these games have been with Little Rock, do you think this is not only a game that you as a staff circle on your calendar every year, but also the players? They really look forward to this matchup and know that they're going to get the best that a Foley team is going to give them.
Yeah, I don't think it's any more important than the other ones. I know it seems like it should, but our group has really gotten good at just playing whoever shows up next. I think they understand the impact and the potential that their outside people could be talking about it with. But I think deep down, our group respects everybody that shows up and plays. And because those games have been competitive, though, I do think the locker room talk is always going to go back to if anybody in that room says anything or does anything, shows any action that indicates any less than their most attention, I think we've got a lot of veterans that'll snap them back into it really quick. So they've earned that respect from us. And, not regardless of the coaches have always had it. We all have got Joe Foley ties, and we know full well what we're getting into when we got Little Rock up next.
Russell, we'll go to you.
Does this game seem more like a conference game than maybe any of your other non-conference, just because how familiar you are with them and just haven't played them the last 2 years?
Yeah, especially in the scout. Like I spend the first film and a half usually trying to pick out numbers and names and be able to tell who's who. I knew their guys, 1 minute into the game, and our players will say the same thing when they get to that as well. When we start going through their actions, they'll remember back to the preps on that. We're not going over specific sets; we're going over tendencies. That'll, for Amber and Mac, really. So the new kids, it won't be there. The familiarity won't be there, but I think they'll have heard it enough from us as coaches and the returners that it does have an SEC matchup. One of those teams, like a Missouri. Our kids know Missouri because we play them twice a year, every year. I think they do know that. I think that's a good point.
Anything else for Coach? All right, we'll wrap it there. See y'all tomorrow.
Thanks, everybody. Welcome, Christina.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, see you guys. See everybody. All right.